Jai Gurudev Swamiji, and thank you for accepting my request to do this video. So I'm doing this series called as People Who Inspire, the people of my life. So there are so many people that I've met in different walks of life who have inspired me and changed something in me and have aroused a lot of questions also in mind, that why do they do what do they do. And these people are not necessarily family or friends, but I've met them through life. So you are the second person I'm interviewing today, and I have a lot of questions, of course. So thank you for accepting my request, and let's get to
My pleasure.
finding the answers.
Yes, I hope I'll be able to
Yes.
answer them.
So like, as a regular beginning, I would want you to introduce yourself to my friends and whoever would be watching this. So tell us about you.
So, in short, my name is Swami Purnachaitanya. I'm originally from the Netherlands. I was born in Holland, in the Netherlands, in a place called Leiden, actually, where later I went to university as well. My parents had gone to university there, and I was born there. And my mother was actually originally from India. Her father was Indian. Her mother was from the Netherlands. So she was born in Delhi, but when she was very small, she came to the Netherlands with her mother. She went back there. So she didn't speak any Indian language, but the roots are there. So that makes me also 25% Indian. And during my childhood, already I had this, you can say, inclination or interest towards the traditions of the East. Like those days, it was mostly that I used to love like these Buddha statues. I was practicing different martial arts like Aikido, Taekwondo, Ninpo Jutsu, Wushu, Kung Fu, different things. And the culture and the whole, the traditions, you can say, had this pull on me. Like even in high school, I studied philosophy. I mean, I took it as a subject, but I found that the Western philosophy was, I mean, to me, it was much more dry, much more intellectual, while the Eastern philosophies were much more practical.
Mm-hmm.
So when we used to learn about the different traditions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, I found it much more interesting than some of the so-called Western religions, you can say. And I used to read different books, like one famous book, Autobiography of a Yogi, many people know.
Yes.
Things like that. It really inspired me, but then it also made me feel that I want to look for something authentic, something alive. Like you can read so many books, but I would like to meet a living master, like a spiritual master. So I was looking for something, and I always had this keenness to do something bigger with my life. Like if I would, even when I was small, when I used to think, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? People used to ask me. I used to feel that, one is I didn't see myself doing a regular job. Like I remember when I was very small and people used to ask me, I used to think, how do I see myself in the future? And I would look forward to retiring, like just sitting in the park with a few other old guys and just look at the people walking by. It's like everything is done in your life and you just become a witness. No, you just observe.
Yeah.
So that is what I used to look forward to, not like earning a lot of money or doing all those things. And as it progressed, I felt that, I don't was to do only something for myself. I would like to do something that is useful for the world, something like you can say some sort of service. And on top of that, I also had this interest, you can say, in what I pictured would be the life of a monk, like just wandering around with very few belongings. Even as a small child, sometimes I used to leave the house in the morning, just roam around the neighborhood or the city all day and come back in the evening. So maybe that was some past life impressions or something, but it seemed very appealing to me. Even when I moved out later during my studies, when I was in university, when I had my own apartment, I used to put my mattress on the floor, like a little bit this Japanese style, and keep my room more empty. Like my friends used to say, like a little bit like this Zen flavor. But just that whole idea of like living simply, having less belongings, somehow really appealed to me. And when I was 16, I met Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. He had come for a public talk. And we came to know about this. And when my mother told me that, a spiritual master is coming from India for a public program, would you like to come along? Because she was going. I thought, this is my chance. I've never met a spiritual master. So let me find out. So we went there. And that program, that meeting with him, made a very deep impression on me. Like seeing him, just the way he carried himself, the things he said, it was a beautiful combination of simplicity and profundity. Like it was very profound, like even the things he said, it wasn't very complicated or hi-fi, but these were very real truths, like it I could really relate to it, and very practical. And seeing how someone could be so deep and yet so simple, in the sense that it was so humble, so down to earth, so natural, no air of no look at me or how great I am. And at the end of the program, he met everybody one by one, those who wanted to just greet him. So that made a deep impression. And then when there was the first program for youth of the Art of Living in the Netherlands, few months later, I participated in that with my brother, with a friend. And that's how you can say my journey within the Art of Living Foundation started, because I did the program, I really liked it, did a few more programs, then decided that this knowledge and these techniques are so practical that I would like to become a trainer also. So I can myself conduct some of these programs. So during my studies, my university days, I did the teacher training as well. And whenever I had a chance, would go to meet Sri Sri Ravi Shankar when he would come to Europe for some programs or something like that. And then when I was finishing my studies, I had already done different jobs, like on the side, to pay for my rent, to pay for my tuition fees. So I knew what it was like to have a 9-to-5 job. Uh, but that didn't appeal to me. And of course, I'm not the only one. There are many people who say that if I had a chance, who wants to do that? But then for me, I had that freedom where there was nobody directly dependent on me, like my parents are taken care of and all that. So then I thought, okay, let me take 1 or 2 years off after my studies and go to India, where there is also the headquarters of the Art of Living Foundation. So I thought this is a beautiful chance where I can dedicate my time. So let me serve there as a volunteer for 1 or 2 years. And at the same time, use that time to explore some of the things that I was really interested in or passionate about, because I had been there before. In between my studies, I had gone to India once or twice for a shorter visit. And I had been to our ashram there, the headquarters of the Art of Living, where we also have a Veda school. So we have these boys who are training to become Pandits. They learn the Vedas, the mantras. They learn some of the Vedic ceremonies. And seeing all that, seeing that tradition that was so ancient and at the same time very much alive, was something that for me, it was like, I also want to have a taste of that. I would love to learn some of those things. So I had asked Sri Sri Ravi Shankar before going there, whether, if possible, I could also learn some of these things, if I would be allowed to learn some of the pujas, the ceremonies, the mantras. And he said, yeah, you come. So I went there for 1 or 2 years, and in between all my service activities, whenever I had a chance, I would learn some more things about these practices and traditions. And then after that 1 or 2 years, there was a point where I had to decide, right? I thought initially that, okay, now I'll go back to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But then seeing how much I was able to contribute, how meaningful my life was living this way, I could not get myself to say, okay, let me go back, do a 9-to-5 job, spend most of my time to earn the money to pay for my rent and my bills and everything. And then maybe have a little of time in the weekend or once in a while to do the things that I would really like to do with my life.
Yeah.
So because I had that freedom and you can say the blessings of my family, they had no objection whatsoever. Rather, they were quite proud that I was doing something so useful with my life.
You're asking things that are coming to my mind. Like I wanted to say that, didn't your family object to it, or how?
Yeah, no, of course we discussed, and I made it a point that every 1 or 2 years I go for at least few weeks to visit them, spend some time.
Yeah.
But for them, like I remember once having this talk with my mother, where she said that, of course, like she would love to have me around much more, but at the same time, she was so proud of all the good work I'm doing that I'm actually dedicating my life to make other people more happy or do something good for the world. And then once she shared a very beautiful thing. She said, apart from that little bit of, as a mother, you have that attachment and all that. She said, for me as a mother also, she said, it's so precious to know that my son, my child, like I have a brother also, but when I said that when my child is so happy, like normally as a mother, sometimes you worry that, oh, is he going to be happy? Is he okay? Because let's face it, most people have some or the other problems or struggles,
Yeah.
very few people can really say, I am just really happy, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So she said, to have that where I don't have to worry at all about your happiness and about, you know, the life that you're living, she said, is a big blessing for a mother also, you know. So that you don't think, oh, I don't know if he's okay, or, you know, maybe this would be nice, or I hope he gets a good job or a nice wife or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So she was very happy that way. And um, that is how I continued. And then after living like that for a few years, my master, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, gave me the opportunity to serve in an even bigger capacity, where he said, okay, if you would like to become one of my swamis, which is like a monk, no, in the Indian tradition, Hindu tradition.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a lifetime commitment. But then, because I was anyway interested, and so you can say I felt this pull towards a life like that. For me, that was just a very big blessing, because I didn't even know that was a possibility. Me coming from the West, but yeah, and since then life has been like that. I'm busy traveling all over, seeing how I can contribute in all the places where I go.